What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Space Engineers, where we are back working on our Corvette build. And in the last episode, we had done a lot with the underbelly. We got all the weapons installed and stuff like that, and they're not quite 100% complete. There's a couple of things that I noticed that we could do. For example, let me see where my spectator camera is. Here it is. So, for example, one of the things that I notice is that the spectator camera has its own light. I think. Is that what that is? Yeah. So this was something that everyone was telling me in the comments, and I was like, oh my gosh, it actually does. That's amazing. So a couple of things that I noticed is there's openings here, which, while this bottom area isn't, like, airlocked or anything like that, we might want to take little armor panels or something to cover up what we can, just so it looks a little bit more sealed and not so hollow. But that's not really a big issue, and that's something I can fix off camera at some point in the future. Now, this episode I'm probably going to do two things. One, there probably won't be a lot of cuts because I'm actually running really low on time to film this. So just keep that in mind, that there may be some extra boring grind work, stuff like that, that I normally would cut out, that I may not this episode because I'm kind of low on time. Second, I will probably save this little guy as a blueprint, but I'm thinking of overhauling this entirely for two reasons. One, I never intended to make a bigger compartment for any kind of rover or miner or anything like that, but now I'm kind of thinking of doing so. Second is that I kind of need to move this in order to do this one, because as you can see here, I was playing around with some different stuff. I didn't want to do these airlock hangar doors because it was kind of limiting in terms of it could only be this wide, or else the two airlock doors wouldn't meet, or it could only be this long, or else the airlock doors wouldn't meet. And even if you did a hybrid of forward and backward things, you'd have to do some very weird stuff in order to make it work. So I started looking at other bridge things that I had that were bigger blocks that take up more space. And I ended up finding these guys. Now, there's a couple of different ways we can do this. One is I actually just thought of this while I'm talking about doing this. So the Death Star bridge is probably what I'm going to go with. I like the look of the glass one actually a little bit better, but with that in mind, it's also, it's glass. It's not really going to be that, well, like, protected as opposed to metal. So in the interest of kind of making it more secure looking, I will probably end up using the Death Star bridge ones, and it's a little appropriate given the whole Star Destroyer-esque type design. Now, with that said, these were the same width and stuff, so I was playing around with them. So from here, we can do three bridge ones, which, when retracted, will give us a space about yay big. So it would end up being about 20 blocks in length and about 15 wide, which is significantly bigger. It's even bigger than this opening that I had already cut out for it. However, we could also do where these blocks would end up being. We could put an end cap, essentially, and I'm just going to build on top of these while we're experimenting here. So we could do an end cap, and then do a one-way, but have it be, say, I don't know if I'll need a 6 or a 7. Let's find out. If I do it like this... Oh, I need a 5. Okay. Well, there's that. 5. And I could do something to that effect. Now, actually, just because of my, like, attention to detail kind of thing, I'd actually like... Wait, the bottom... Oh, that's interesting. That's weird. Alright. That doesn't seem accurate. It should come out to look the same way, I thought. Okay, so it's going to be the latest one? Oh, that is weird. It doesn't come out looking the same. So I could do something like that as well and have it... It would occupy the same amount of space, but we would only have one set of bridge to do. Though... I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I kind of like the whole two different direction opening kind of thing. I like that, how that looks. Now, one interesting thing is I almost think I like the way these open better. And what I mean by that is these other ones that I had placed before are technically upside down. They're not actually correct. And so you're actually getting the walkway part out here, and you're seeing the bottom grille on the interior. But I kind of actually like how that looks on the exterior of the ship a little bit better. I mean, granted, it wouldn't be hard to flip them one way or another, but I do almost think I like that better. And especially since the one here is right side up, but when I flip it, it seems to have the same texture on the back. So even if I were to extend that, it just doesn't look the same. So I'm not a big fan of that. So what I think I'm going to end up doing is these 3-block ones instead of the 5, and I'm just going to have them on both directions. But as I said, the problem with this is I would need it to basically move. Actually, I don't want to delete those yet. So what I think is going to end up happening is, if you can see here, this is where they would end up being, which is right next to this. And I don't like things being that close. So what I think I'm going to end up doing is moving this row back to, like, here, maybe? Something like that. Somewhere in that region. And then that way this can shift back down the same amount, which would be... So maybe one up. Let's just say 5. We'll say we'll move it like 5 blocks back. And see how that goes. But in order to make all that work, I've got to actually remove the other one that's already here for the smaller drone. Where did that play? I hate it when it does that. It just makes it sound like it placed something like that out in space, and I'm like, where did it put a block? Oh well. If I can ever highlight this... I don't know why I have such a problem with these airlock doors, but they never want to highlight for me. So I'm going to remove... See? Did it again. Where is it placing these blocks? I'm going to find, like, a whole another pile of metal or something somewhere. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that. I'll leave that there for now, and we'll get rid of all of that. All of this is going to end up probably getting overhauled a bit. Now, there is one thing I probably should double check and make sure of before I get too far into that. I don't think there will be an issue because I built this room on purpose for the only thing that it was doing. But we'll end up having to move some of the conveyor work that we did in the last episode, which, you know, it's not a big deal. But most of this, I'm going to replace it with standard block, but most of it is probably going to end up just being normal. So, and a lot of the interior stuff in here, rework, will probably be done through the spectator mode, since it'll be a little easier. Oh, hi. Forgot about you. You're the floor. Okay. Well, that's not coming out anytime soon. Okay. Oops. Get rid of that. For now, let's just put a conveyor block there, because I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. And let's see, where are my heavy block armors? Alright, so we said 5 blocks. Let's go one more for the frame. And we'll do that, because that way it'll actually be moving it back 5 blocks. Which, how long are these blocks actually? They are 5. Okay, so it's like a full length back. That will work. Now we can get rid of all this, because that was just placeholder stuff. And we'll fill this in. Boom. Now, the other thing we need to do is let's basically poke holes in stuff to make sure that we're not removing anything that can't be removed, essentially. And it looks like, other than the conveyor tube, we shouldn't run into any crazy issues with this. Especially when you consider the fact that we're probably not going to be building the ship this far back because it won't be able to fit through the door. So it's only going to go to the door. And again, for now, we're just going to seal this up. And that I'll work with in, like I said, we'll do the spectator mode stuff and finish all that up later. So primarily, I'm mainly just focused on getting all of this squared away. We're going to open all that up and get rid of you guys, because now we kind of have our measurements where we need them. How many's on that side? 3? Okay, so that should open everything up. Now let's switch back to our... Where'd they go? Oh, I've got them the wrong way. So we'll put these there. Now I do want to make sure these are angled correctly. So, as I said, I'm thinking that's kind of how I want them. Because actually, to me, that always looked a bit more industrial anyway. But I think that just matches the exterior a little bit better. I tell you what we'll do. We'll do 3 one way and 3 another. And then I'll get you guys' opinions and feedback to find out which is the preferred system. We'll put that like that, that like that, and that like that. Okay. Let's do that, and they'll all... Oops! I totally did one row the same way. Okay, so we want to flip it. Alright, there we go. Let's try that. And... Okay. So that would be basically what we're looking at in terms of how it would look on the bottom. I'm relatively sure that I've centered everything correctly, but this gives us a little bit more space over here where it just doesn't look so crowded up on the front. And actually, once I remove the control panels and things that are on the back end, it actually looks a bit more centered all the way around. Like, even towards the back, it's got the same kind of padding all around. So I kind of like that. And the other thing is when we... the rest of this I might do in spectator so I can leave that door closed. But when we come up here, we'll have a more open space. Now, the one issue, there is a big issue with this, though, that I'm not sure how to deal with, and it's the height. The height is going to be an issue, because unless I bring this down, which is then no longer flush with the upper part, which is, I kind of like the whole idea of it being flat when everything's retracted. It would mean that any kind of rover, miner, driller, whatever could only be 2 blocks high, if that. 2 blocks would be an... it would actually be a little bit of an issue now that I think about it, in terms of it probably would only really fit as a 1 block high thing. So that's going to be a problem that I honestly am not sure how to address. I kind of like how this looks, and I could bring this down a couple of blocks. Like, as long as we have this much clearance when we land, it would be okay. The only issue is that when all this stuff retracts, if this is still sticking out, then we would have to take that into account. Like, you can't just fly with this, with the understanding that everything on the bottom is one level, is I guess what I'm getting at. So for now, tell you what we're gonna do. Since we're doing one side one way and one side another, let's try a little experiment where on this side, this half, so from this door all the way around, we're gonna do half of the ship one way, and then we'll see how it would look. So first off, I'm going to turn on mirror mode. And let's see, where do we need to start with this? In order to kind of follow the same shape idea, I'm thinking... Or wait, is that how I want to do this? No, it would have to be the other way. Alright, hold on. I don't know why, but I really can't see where this block is. So it would have to run like that. So I could only go about 2 blocks more before we would be... Well... I might be able to pull off a 3. We could probably go 3 more lower, which is still below... It's not below these, but it would still be below the landing gears. So I'm just going to extend everything right now so I can see my heights. So these just clear the ship hull. This was so you could walk under it, which I believe is a 4 block high thing. Yeah, so it's 4. And this would be 3. So that could still work. Okay. Alright, well, with that... Oops, I was going to go the other way. Let's go this way. And I'm going to need to account for... Now, I'm not sure... I guess I probably need to leave that 1 block there holding that in place. And actually, we can still do that and it won't get in the way of anything. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to bring this that far, and then bring this far. Then we can freely... Now, this doesn't have to be heavy armor. We could actually change this to a light block. And that way it would cut down on some weight. We're going to do the same thing right there. Right there, and yep, right there. That way everything's held together. We'll get the seamless texture design because there's blocks underneath of it, but it won't add a ton of weight to the ship. Now for this part, we're going to have to work a little bit backwards. We're going to go like this, like that. And that's going to round out our corner. We'll just go up from there. So that's how that would work. Okay, let's get our blocks under there. Now, for this part, let's see. We're still going to need an inverted corner here. And then we'll put a regular block under there. And we'll do 2 corners there. And we'll do like this. And now, from that point, we can bring this and connect that. We can bring this to connect with that, and this to connect with that. So we should be good on light armor. So then we'll just connect all this up. Okay. Boom. Alright. So now we're left with what would be, again, we're going to do one side one way, one side another. And to follow through with that, we'll get rid of these 3 doors. And I want to say if they're flipped the other way, it's where they're the way the face looks, I think, is how that's going to work. Okay, yeah, so I was right. So that would leave it with a bit more of a pocket on the bottom. Now, again, like I said, this is not inherently a bad thing because technically it would still clear when you land. There wouldn't be a problem there. And this would also allow for, as you can see, a much taller drone, ship, rover, whatever you want to call it. And it would allow it, what would it actually give you for clearance? It would give you a 5 block or 4.5-ish clearance level, which would overall probably make things a whole lot better. And I'm also going to clear out one of these rows, because what I'm going to do, hold on, that, let's grab from the corner and come down. So like I said, I don't know what I'm doing back here yet, but for this area, do I still have mirror mode on? No, now I want it on. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, this is all connected, so I really just need to branch off of this point to fix our conveyor system. Okay, that all lit up. Make sure that's, yep, that's good. Okay. And then we can take from this point and boom. Alright, so now our hangar area is clear of obstacles, and we can bring a connector right off of that. And we've got a little wiggle room up here that we can do some stuff with. In fact, we could bring a connection point up here and have a connector facing down or something like that. And we may want to tie in the connector over here where we've got a little more room that we can bring it forward or something like that. That's kind of a remain to be seen, but it would give us a little bit more room to work with up here. Now, the other thing I don't know about, it looks to me like that's not a held heavy armor block area. So we can actually replace this with light since it's not exposed any longer. And that should keep things a bit more open. Or not open, but lighter. So yeah, there's still a couple of different things we could do with this. We could follow the curve here with an interior curve, which actually would look kind of cool now that I'm thinking about it. Let's just do one side at a time though, so we make sure this all holds together. And we're gonna put a block there like that. And I suppose we could then get rid of all that. I'm really hoping nothing just like snaps and falls apart. Now the only thing with this is I can't do the roundabout back here, I don't think. Maybe I will be able to, I'm not sure yet. That remains to be seen. I'm really hoping that when I break some of this stuff it doesn't just fall off. Okay, so that's now sealed. The one above that is not visible, but it would still need to be connected. So we would need to do it like this in order for this to work. Like so. Okay. Okay. Now, if we were to do... If I remove that... Ooh, that is visible. Okay, but it's a square block. So, if I make that a heavy block, it should, in theory, go unnoticed. Okay. Okay, well, that's kind of cool. So that goes unnoticed, it just has to stay a heavy block. How about you? You are not, so you can be light. Oh. This won't work then. If I did that, it would need to be a corner. Ah, see, that's gonna create a problem because it's too far back. Okay, hold on. So I'm guessing we would have to make this simply a heavy block ramp. But then we're getting into the rest of the ship here. Like, that's probably fully exposed. Yeah, it is. Well, as long as we don't do anything... So I might not want to do all of that. I take that back. Let's do just a partial for now. That's not exposed, so it doesn't need to be that way. And we'll just make this a ramp that connects for now. Yeah, I thought about that. Okay, what do you need to be? You need to be an inverted corner. Boom. Okay, so that makes it a little more interesting, but again, it really won't matter if if you have to open this hangar and then get in it or something, it won't really matter. Now there is another issue here that I just now thought of. If this is only one block from the height, so if this is only one block from a landing height, the character has to have 4 to be able to walk under it. So it means I can walk around this if we're landed on the planet. But if we're landed on the planet, if I don't leave some kind of access hatch to get in, there's no way for me to access the ship. So I would have to either put something in the floor up above, or you'd have to basically drop it, open the hangar door, drop it before you land or something, which is not very convenient. So that's why I wanted to leave both of these options available, because it means we either have to make a smaller drone, or we have to come up with a different access point for the ramp. Not the ramp, the rover thing. We could do something simple, like one option that comes to mind is on the compact door mods. They've got these angle ones. Glass compact door corner straight. I don't remember which one is which. But hypothetically, because this is a hypothetical, let's see if this would work. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it'd be too big. Yeah, that's 4 blocks high, just like the character. So I don't think that would work. But anyways, my point is we'd have to leave some kind of opening bay for us to be able to get in here or allow the ship to get out. Because even if the doors are open and you detach it, but it only has 1 block clearance before it hits the ground and it's 4 blocks high, we're going to have the same problem that the character would have, which is where you drop the character, or you drop the thing, but then it can't go anywhere until the ship takes off and leaves it. So, you know, we're kind of having a space issue here, but there's enough options here that I would like to leave it up to feedback and stuff to see what you guys think about different ways we could do things and stuff like that. So that's why I liked doing the multiple options here. So I think we're going to wrap things up here. Let me know what you guys think about all of our different paths that we could take with our drone/rover. And in the meantime, I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.